हाँ दोस्तों, हम लोग अभी बस से चढ़ गया। हम लोग अभी चिचेन इट्जा तरफ बढ़ रहा है। हाँ, आप लोग का एक चीज़ बताने की था। इधर बहुत एटीएम्स है, 2-3 एटीएम्स है इधर। फिर क्या है बोले, वो तो आपको जब एटीएम से ड्रॉ करेगा 109 पैसों आप इधर कमीशन ड्रॉ करते हैं, या कैनकून में या मेक्सिको सिटी में सिर्फ 30 पैसों कमीशन रहता है। इधर 109 पैसों है। आपको ज़रूरी है तो आप इधर से ले लो, वरना आप सिटी से लेके आ जाइए। कितना पैसा चाहिए आपको, वो पैसा सिटी से।
We'll be in the middle of a jungle, so it's important to take some references, like that big square stone over there is pointing to the exit, right? Second, in case, I hope not, but in case you need medical assistance during the tour, there is an ambulance over there with paramedics ready to assist you, right? And number 3, the nearest bathroom, baño, is a green color structure over there, right? That's the nearest bathroom during the tour. As you remember, there is bathrooms outside, but this one here is the nearest. Now, get your cameras ready, because we're just a few steps away
from the world wonder.
Right? Are you ready for this? Yes or no?
Yes. Vámonos.
हाँ दोस्तों, हम लोग रफ्तार से चिचेन इट्जा तरफ बढ़ रहे हैं और कुछ ही कदम है हम लोग चिचेन इट्जा का सामने पहुंचने के लिए।
I'm gonna show you new world wonder.
Our first impression.
Wow!
Don't tell me there is a pyramid like this at the corner of your house. This place is full of history, It was founded back in and mysteriously abandoned back in the 1200s AD. It was founded by the Maya, one of the greatest cultures in the Americas. This place used to be the capital of the Maya world. It's a big city. Dear friends, this pyramid used to look like this.
Wow!
1,000 years ago, the pyramid of Chichen Itza used to be painted. I mean, the stones you see there, they were covered with a plaster of stucco. And the Maya added color to their temples, mainly red. Red, it was the main color of this culture because it was associated with the blood. They believed these temples were living tributes to the gods, However, there is bad news. The color is gone because there was a big fire here. A big fire, Not in our times. No, it was back in the 1200s AD when the city was abandoned. We don't know if they were attacked or if the inhabitants did it, but the point is the whole place was burned down. Now, that's about the outsides. But there is a lot of science, in this temple. There is mathematics, there is astronomy, there is architecture, there is even acoustic. So let's go one by one. About the numbers, we can find number 4 on this pyramid because the pyramid shows 4 sides. It's aligned with the 4 directions: north, south, east, and west. 9. 9 is the number of levels or big steps at the pyramids. If you count them from the bottom to the top or vice versa, the number is 9. But attention on this one. These 9 levels, they are divided by the stairway in the middle. So it's possible to count 9 big steps on the right plus 9 big steps on the left. 9 plus 9, that's 8, which is the number of months in the Maya calendar. Remember that?
Yes, yes.
Maybe your tour guide mentioned that. Okay. 18 months of the year. 18 months of 20 days each plus 1. Number is 91. But there is 4 of them. 4 times 91, 364. Plus the last step at the top, which is common to all 4 sides. The number 365. So the pyramid is like a 3-dimensional calendar. Ancient Maya combined their knowledge in astronomy, math, and architecture in one temple. Now, this is not a house, this is not a tomb, but a temple. The ancient Maya used it to worship the Mayan gods. And actually, you can see the face of one of the Mayan gods above the doorway. That's right. That's the face of Shak. Who's Shak? Shak is the god of rains, the god of water. If you spell his name as it follows, Chaac, Shak. And he's one of the main gods in this land. Back to the pyramid, what's inside of it? Do you know what's inside of it? Well, yeah, we'll get to that. You're into sacrifice, huh? Okay. We'll need a volunteer. Well, let me show you what the archaeologists discovered inside this pyramid 80 years ago. Back in the 30s, 1930s, a group of archaeologists discovered a second pyramid inside. There is still them. There's an inner pyramid, and the inner pyramid was a big discovery because it was painted, intact, still there. Just 12 years ago, we have the chance to get in, to see it, This blue color here is just dirt and stones, so the two pyramids are together. There's nothing in between. Well, that was discovered 80 years ago. But 2 years ago, back in 2017, another group of archaeologists discovered a third pyramid, right here. There's one more here. So there's 3 of them right there. And that's not all. The same group of archaeologists discovered that under your feet there is 3 different levels of construction. I mean, 3 different layers of pavement. The whole city was paved back in the day. There was no trees, no grass in that. No. All the places was paved. If you dig a hole here, you will find pavement and painted in red. And I'm talking about 20 square kilometers. A lot of work. So this city used to grow up, literally, for the time. Archaeologists believe that back in the day, when the government of a city like this changed, the new governor used to order the construction of a whole new level all over the place in order to show his prestige and power to other cities. Makes sense. And there is more. Under the pyramid, archaeologists discovered a cave, water. There is a natural cave under the pyramid, a cenote, And this is not a coincidence, because the Maya, they believed the caves were like some sort of doorways to the underworld, places, sacred places, where they used to throw tributes, offerings, to the gods. However, there is bad news. Because of the weight, 60,000 tons, and the humidity underneath, this pyramid one day will sink. Yeah. But that day is not today, so take many pictures.
Yes.
However, there's an archaeologist, a local one, who believes that maybe the Maya of Chichen Itza back in the day, they knew it. They were sure. I mean, they were aware of this, And maybe this pyramid, it was meant to be the last tribute of a city to the gods. Maybe they will send the pyramid back to the underworld. But that's a theory only. Now, there is more. Yes, there is an amazing acoustic in this place. 1,000 years ago, the governor of Chichen Itza, the ruler, used to climb the steps of this temple, and once at the top, he used to speak to the masses, to the crowds gathered around this place. Believe it or not, his voice, it was clearly heard all over the place. Yeah. I mean, 12 years ago, we had the chance to prove it. The tour guide or a visitor used to climb the steps, and the rest of the group used to listen and reward it. Now it's not possible because the Mexican government decided to close the access to all of the temples in order to preserve it, right? Yeah. But there is a way we can test the acoustic, and it's not using the voice, it's using the hands, by clapping. What I'm about to say, it was discovered by accident, 30 years ago, by a group of archaeologists. They were working here, Chichen Itza was closed, and it was all in silence. They were working at the west side of the pyramid when all of a sudden they heard a strange sound coming out from the temple at the top. After some research, they noticed that this sound, this echo, comes out of the temple only when you clap your hands. They try screaming, whistling, nothing happened. But when they clap their hands, it was possible to listen to this very particular sound. After more research, they discovered something amazing. They discovered that this sound is actually identical to the sound of this bird. This bird in the picture, it was chosen by the ancient Maya to represent the main god of this culture, the supreme god, named Kukulkan. Have you heard that word before?
Kukulkan Boulevard.
That's right. That's the name of the boulevard.
Yeah.
So Kukul means feathers. Kan means a snake. When you combine the two words, the result is feathered snake. I know what you're thinking. There's not such a thing. No, I've never seen a feathered snake in my life. But I've seen a bird who looks like a snake because of the size of the tail. The size of the bird is like the size of your hand, but the size of the feathers here could be like the size of your arms open. It's beautiful. Unfortunately, it's in danger of extinction nowadays. There's a few left. But back in the day, it used to flew all over the place here. The question is, how could the ancient Maya were able to recreate the sound of their sacred bird with a simple clapping in front of the pyramid? The question for you is simple too. Would you like to listen? The sound of this bird, yes or no?
Yes.
All right. Well, to do that, we need to walk over there. There's a secret spot where we can test acoustic.
Yeah.
And I know you can do it. So, please.
Yeah.
There, 3 times only, just as good as you did before. And now, ready to listen to the voice of Kukulkan. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. You hear that? Yeah. Second time was better, huh? Once again. 1, 2, 3.
I didn't hear it the last time.
Oh, you got it, right?
Yeah. Really
This is an amazing acoustic phenomenon. It's produced by 91 vibrations climbing the steps of this stairway. Once at the top, they get into the room up there, the cavity, they bounce inside of it. There is more.
But there's stairs on the other side?
Tell me. Nowadays it's possible to get the sound at the west
This side.
and at the north.
Oh, okay.
South and east, not possible because the steps are incomplete.
Oh, okay.
Right behind us, you can hear it.
You can
तालियां बजाता है, आप लोग को सुन सकता है कि ऊपर से एक पक्षी का अजीब सा आवाज आपको सुन सकते हैं. दूर से सुनिएगा.
Mystery, so join me.
Yeah.
This pyramid has a front side, a facade. The north. Pyramids, we all know that there is 2 snake heads made of a stone this big at the end, very end of the stairway facing the north. Can you see them?
Yes.
2 big snake heads, this big, with the jaws open.
Yeah.
All right, there is 2 of them because there is 2 days in the Maya calendar when the Maya people celebrate 2 big events in this city. In our calendar, those days match on March 21st and September 21st, the spring and fall equinoxes. When the day and night last the same length, right? Well, those 2 days, March 21st and September 21st, around 5 p.m., here at Chichen Itza, Mexico, we can see an amazing astronomical phenomenon on this pyramid, like an optical illusion. How come? Well, during those 2 days, around 5 p.m., we can see the sun by those trees behind you. And right before the sun sets, we can see how the sun lights the pyramid on its west side, just like we can see in this picture. All the west side, amigos, is full of light, while the north turns into darkness. But something else takes place here, because around 5 p.m. we can actually see how the 9 big steps of the pyramid, they reflect the second shade, not in the ground, but at the stairway which is facing the north. At the balustrade, at the wall of the stairway, forming the shade of a gigantic snake, descending from the top of the stairway all the way down until it touches the neck of the snake head place over there. Absolutely.
On which day?
Amazing, for sure. This is not a coincidence, no at all. This was planned, calculated, by the Maya. This shade of a snake, we can only see it during 20 minutes, twice a year. So it cannot be a coincidence. I'm pretty sure it had a meaning, and a very important meaning. Actually, every year we can see it, and those days this place is packed, crowded, 30,000 visitors. Today, there must be like 3,000. Those days, 10 times more. So this amazing event, for us, is a touristic attraction, but amongst the Maya has a special meaning. March 21st represents the first day of the year for Maya, you know, and is when they go out to plant the sacred crop, the corn. It's the first day, the beginning of the agriculture cycle, the farming. 6 months later is the end of the harvest. So we can see the shade twice a year, 20 minutes, because the perfect alignment of the sun, the earth, and the pyramid during those days. Besides, a local archaeologist discovered that we can see the shade because this pyramid is not perfectly aligned with the four directions. No. The front side is not perfectly aligned with the north. It's actually aligned with the northeast. There's a deviation of 23.5 degrees. And guess what? The record, 23.5 degrees is the current tilt of the planet Earth. How could the Maya knew such a thing? Don't ask me that question. I don't know. No one knows. These guys were very, very ahead of their time. Men and women who were into science, you know. Very, very smart people. However, some believe they were held by the aliens, extraterrestrials. I don't know. I prefer to believe they were very smart. However, archaeologists, they are divided. You know, some believe they were very advanced, some others believe maybe they have some help. At the east, there's another temple named the Temple of Warriors, named like that by the two explorers who discovered the city. And because they noticed the pillars at the bottom, they were full of carvings showing depictions of people carrying weapons and wearing armors. 12 years ago, we had the chance to climb the steps of that temple to get to the top and actually to see on detail a beautiful statue located between the two pillars at the very top. I know it's hard to see it from here, so that's why I brought the picture for you to meet the messenger of gods. This is not a god, but it was not a human being. It was something in between. A very important character amongst the Maya because he's laying back all the time because he's holding a platter on his belly. The Maya used to place the most important tributes, the offerings right there. Different kind of offerings. Huh? Now, why? Why to place this very important character at the top of a temple and not at the top of the main? There is a reason for that, and it has a lot to do with the equinoxes. A local archaeologist discovered that early in the morning of March 21st and September 21st, if you stand right here where we are, you can actually see the sun rising behind that temple, between the two pillars, and perfectly aligned with the belly of the messenger of God. It's like you see the sun coming out from the character here in the picture. There is bad news, my friends. At 6 a.m. when this happens, Chichen Itza is closed. Nobody can see that. But there is good news too. Your tour guide has good contacts. So, I'm talking about the Toltecs. Maybe you never heard about them. Maybe you have. Let's see, the Toltecs, they were the ancestors of the Aztecs. And the Toltecs, they were taller than Maya, stronger, they had better weapons. They were a military society in their own rituals. And most of them, they were very extreme.
Like human sacrifice.
Now is when I need a volunteer, maybe. These sacrifices, attention on this one, took place during the Toltec times. Maya never, ever sacrificed a person until the arrival of the Toltecs. Okay? Take note of that. However, like I said, the Toltecs, they ruled the place and sacrifices began. And they used platforms like this. They use a pyramid, they use the wells to perform this ritual of death, right? So there is evidence that in that platform, there used to be it was common to see a priest of the Toltec society holding a knife made of obsidian, very sharp. And he used it, to make an incision at the belly of a person to pull out his heart and to show it to the masses, gathered around. The Toltecs believed that was necessary to keep a balance. They believed it was necessary to feed the gods with blood and human hearts. The Maya, on the other hand, they knew that was not necessary to keep a balance, to see the sun rising in the morning, to see the rain falling down the sky. Not necessary. But the outsiders, they actually believed it was an honor to be sacrificed. An honor. I don't think there was a big line of people waiting. Hey, pick me, pick me. I don't think so. But the history says the Toltecs, they used to tell their kids, hey, little one, if one day you offer your life to the gods, you will join them forever in eternity. Don't get surprised too much. Out there, around human heads on their hands. Let me show you that. Skull, ribs, the bones on the legs, right? And another human head right here. And once again, another warrior here, she's dead, holding another human head right here. In the middle, another eagle, the symbol of Toltec. They are invading the city, they are taking over the place. Now the Maya, they were the Toltecs, the outsiders. They wanted to send a message. This is like a statement. Like they said, we are the Toltecs. We rule the city now. You dare to attack me. This will be the price to pay. According to many archaeologists, back in the day, everybody got the message. Because these guys, they were the most powerful. I'm really interested in you to really understand what happened here back in the day. So, I need you to use your imagination, all right? Imagine yourself as one of the players, standing right there against that wall. You won't be alone. You'll be part of a team. 7 players per team. 7 versus 7 more at the end of the field. To be part of this, you need to wear a uniform. More than a uniform, it's like an armor covering your arms, you know, your head like a helmet, and your hips like a belt. The armor is not very comfortable, nope, but you have to wear it because you're about to play with a ball this big, and the ball is heavy, like 4 pounds, 2 kilos, and it's solid. It's made of rubber, just like the armor, rubber. You know? The ground was paved. Here we can see remains of the original pavement. Yeah. There was no grass, no. It was all paved. So the ball used to bounce a lot. To start the game, somebody have to drop the ball from the top of the walls. When the ball touches the ground, is when you have to run. You and your team, but not only you, the other team as well. So the fastest player, the first one to touch the ball in the middle of the field, starts the game. Since that moment, all of the players, and I mean all of them, they will have just one thing in mind. One, to pass the ball through those hoops, those rings, those openings. Take a look, in front of me, there's one, and right there, another one. So those 2 rings, those openings, they were placed at 7 meters above the ground. That is 21 feet. And that's very high. Considering the average height of a Mayan person, which is 1.50 meters, 5 feet. Very small. Yes.
1 meter?
150, 5 feet. So, I mean, basketball, the guys who play basketball, how tall they are?
Yeah, 7, 6, around 7.
And the ring is like what?
8.
That's right.
8
so
to
you
9.
just need to jump and touch it, right? Here, it's not that simple. Here, they have to pass the rubber ball through those hoops, and the rubber ball is heavy, 2 kilos, 4 pounds. Come on. But there is more. Let's go back to the shape. There is more. There is rules. Like in any game, there is rules. And the rules here, they were very extreme. Because the players, I mean you, cannot use hands, cannot use
Legs.
feet,
Oh.
cannot use head to touch the ball. You can only use the hips and the elbows. That's it.
Shit.
Hips and elbows to hit the ball, to make it pass through the hoops.
How to do that?
Oh, sounds difficult, I know.
Very.
But it was not impossible. This, my friends, shows some pictures, some images, some drawings made by the Spaniards hundreds of years ago. This is a description of the players using hips, using elbows to hit the ball. Here, the size of a ball aside a human foot, for you to see the difference. The rings, they were placed on the walls, and the players, they have to pass the ball through the hoop. This was not a game. To fail, it was not an option. Seated there, used to stop the actions. And the spectators watching from the top of the walls up there used to celebrate in honor to the player who scored, if I can use the word, because it was not a game. But the thing is, when that happened, the player used to receive a lot of privileges, prizes, and he was allowed to walk back to his home in one piece, safe and sound. But what I just said took place only during the Mayan times of Chichen Itza. When the outsiders took over the place, the Toltecs, when they invaded the city, well, they have their own rules, right? They knew about this ritual, they used to play it, but they have one extra rule, just one. When somebody scored, somebody died. They cut the head off one of the players, and the head, it was offered to the gods.
Really?
Yeah. But whose head? The one who scored? The one who failed? What do you think? What would you say? The one who scored? Raise your hand if you believe it was the one who scored.
Privilege.
Privilege. The one who failed? You're right. The one who scored. That's right, because the outsiders believed that was a privilege, an honor, you know. So they believed there was another life, you know, after life. So yeah, they were not afraid. And we can tell that because under the two rings, the archaeologists discovered some carvings on the walls where you can actually see the two teams face to face, 7 versus 7. And one of the players, yeah, is holding the head of his opponent like this. And in the opposite side, you see the opponent down on his knee, headless. In between, a circle representing the sun, and in the middle, a skull representing the dead. So the dead become part of this ritual after the Toltec invasion. Yeah. So would you like to play?
How many times do they play? Like every day?
Good question. No, it was not like a tournament. It was not like a game. Only played in days associated with the sun, like equinoxes, solstices, eclipses, solar cycles, you know, not every day. So they have time to train real hard.
The game lasted like for days?
Well, according to the people who saw it, and that is the Spaniards, minutes. Because these guys, they were ready for it. They were trained since they were kids. Yeah. Since they were kids, they were trained their whole lives to become the best players of the Pok Ta Pok. That was the name of this ritual. Pok Ta Pok. So only the best players came here to Chichen Itza, where is the biggest ball game court in the land. There's other courts, smaller, you know, this game. So back in the day, this place, just like the pyramid, it was painted full in colors. And back in the day, it was possible for the ruler to speak seated there with another person across the field. My colleague is testing.
हाँ दोस्तों, इधर अजीब से एक घटन हुआ था, ताकि हम लोग जब फ़ोटो लिया था, आप लोग को फ़ोटो में देख सकते हैं, थोड़ा एक लाइट वो चिचन इट्ज़ा तरफ से ऊपर से आ रहा था, क्या पता नहीं, वो मूव हो रहा था। हम लोग को देखा, मैं जब मैं कैमरा नीचे रखकर देखा, वो मूव हो रहा था। वो भूत है क्या है मुझे पता नहीं दोस्तों। आप लोग देख के आप लोग जा रहे तो देखो संभाल के। हाँ दोस्तों, दुनिया का 7 अजूबा में एक हमारा पहला अजूबा वर्ल्ड वंडर, वही 7 न्यू वर्ल्ड वंडर में हमारा पहला वर्ल्ड वंडर में हम लोग उसके सामने ठीक सामने खड़ा हुआ है। बहुत उत्सुक है हम लोग। अभी पूरा गाइड जो बोला हम लोग सुना, आप भी सुना रहेगा। और यदि ये बहुत सुंदर है, आप लोग इधर आना है, मतलब उसके बारे में जानने के लिए बहुत है दोस्तों। आप इधर आएगा तो वो भी जान सकता है। और मैं बहुत वीडियो में कट किया, फिर भी आपको कितना हो गया होगा उतना इन्फॉर्मेशन मैं इस वीडियो के दौरान आप लोगों को दे दिया। ठीक है दोस्तों, तब मौका मिल गया तो ज़रूर इधर आइए। कैंकुन आइए तो चिचन इट्ज़ा पे ज़रूर जाइए।
On March 21st and September 21st, the sun will be exactly falling on this pyramid. Okay, it is believed that March 21st is the start of their new year.